Let's get cooking with Care Team Plus, where flavor meets health. I'm Chef Karla, and today we are making after school fuel, snacks that stick. So we're making recipes that are going to fuel your kids throughout the rest of their afternoon without that big energy crash. They're going to be able to feel good and make it through dinner without being like, Mom, what's for dinner? I'm hungry. 30 minutes after they've had their snack. So we've got some awesome nutrient-packed snacks today. The three recipes we're going to make, we're going to start with a blueberry banana muffin. Awesome. We're also going to do a peanut butter hummus. So if you like peanut butter, you're all in, trust me. And then lastly, we're going to finish off with a cold veggie pizza. So it's just a non-baked pizza with some raw vegetables on top of it. It's an awesome twist on just a traditional pizza. Let me give you the rundown for the cost of these items. All right, your blueberry muffins, per serving, it costs $2.60. That's a steal of a deal. The peanut butter hummus is about $1.50 per serving. And then our no-bake pizza, our cold veggie pizza, is going to be $2 per serving. So all of these snacks are within our budget and also nutrient packed. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with our blueberry banana muffins. So I'm going to use a food processor for this recipe, so it makes the recipe even easier. If you don't have a food processor, you can just use a fork to mash your bananas. That's really what we're using the food processor for. So that will simplify things either way. So we're going to use 4 awesome brown ripe bananas. I will tell you guys, I really like to, I don't know about you guys, but I always end up with too many bananas in our house. We have big expectations of eating them, and sometimes we just don't get around to it. And before we know it, they are brown. And so instead of wasting them, something that you could do is just peel them and then pop them in a Ziploc bag and keep them in your freezer. And I just have a Ziploc bag in my freezer that I just add banana like on top. It's just one bag, the same bag. More bananas just go in. It just helps keep, that way you're not wasting any bananas ever. And they're perfect bananas for a recipe like this, or even for a smoothie. All right, our 4 bananas are going in. We're just throwing everything into the blender. So it's just nice and easy. We don't have to worry about add a little bit of this and then stir. Be careful here. We don't have to do any of that, which is awesome. Then I'm going to go ahead and add 4 eggs. So these eggs are going to bump up the nutrition a little bit in this muffin. So 4 eggs are going to add a good bit of protein. Then we're going to go ahead and add, we're using 3 cups of almond flour. So the almond flour also adds some really great nutrition. It adds a little bit of protein, some fiber, and some micronutrients. When we swap different flours when we're baking, it's really just an experiment, to be honest with you, because when we're baking, it's a science. Baking is very specific. So if we swap different ingredients, the end products might be a dud, unfortunately. So I haven't tested this recipe using any other flour but almond flour. I do like using the almond flour because it bumps up the nutrition a little bit more, and it is also a gluten-free muffin, which a lot of people really like, but it adds really great flavor. So give it a try if you are. Then we need 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And we just need a pinch of salt, so about 1/2 teaspoon of some salt. And then we have some coconut oil, so 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And we also need some vanilla extract. Just carefully measure it. Ooh, that'll do. All right, so we have everything in except the blueberries. I'm going to go ahead and puree this until it's smooth, and then we'll fold the blueberries in so that the blueberries don't get minced and diced across the whole muffin. I like it when the muffins have those big bursting blueberries. looks great. So the mixture is just nice and smooth. It's pretty thick. It looks great. Then I'm going to go ahead and just fold in about 1.5 cups of blueberries. They're fresh blueberries. Beautiful. And then I'll go ahead and just fold them in. And I like to fold them in just so that, again, like we don't have minced blueberry all over, which might work, you know, that might be great for you, but I like having those, once you bake the muffin, those bursting blueberries. It just looks so indulgent and delicious to me. All right, so we just folded them in, and now I'll go ahead and grab a muffin tin. I'm actually using a silicone mold, which I really like because it avoids any sticking when you make the muffins, and you don't have to use those paper cups, which is cool. But other than that, like those are just perks. It's not necessary to use a mold like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and just scoop them in and just fill them up. So this recipe is going to make about 18 muffins. And this little scoop is just really like a little ice cream scoop. It's fantastic for when you're making cookies or like little energy bites or muffins. Usually keeps it a little bit cleaner. Okay, I have a nice little secret for you guys, a little chef's trick, if you will. So you know when you go to a bakery and you have those beautiful blueberry muffins where the blueberries are perfectly placed on top and they're oozing beautiful blueberry juice after they've bursted in the oven, and it looks so beautiful and delicious? It's on purpose. So let me tell you how to do it. What I like to do is, so we put in that about 1.5 cups of blueberries. And then from there, what you can do is just top each muffin with a few blueberries and just press them in so that when you pop them in the oven and then when you take them out, they're going to be perfectly placed blueberries that will just make it over the top perfect and delicious. Of course, this step is optional, but I think it adds a nice little, it's a nice touch. This also works for any type of muffin. Like if you're making a chocolate chip muffin, you can just press the chocolate chips in right before you bake it. Chocolate chip cookies, you can do it right before you bake it, or once immediately when you pull them out of the oven, you can press some chocolate chips perfectly into your chocolate chip cookie. I mean, I know it sounds like it's very extra, but you know, every little bit counts. It's the details. It's all in the details. All right, now that we have these perfectly placed blueberries in our blueberry muffins, we're going to pop these in the oven at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. You're going to notice on top it gets a nice caramelized brown. The blueberries are going to burst, and that's how you know that they're done. Let's pop them in the oven. All right, let's get started on our peanut butter hummus. I love this recipe. I created it about 10 years ago, and I've been making it ever since. It's a fantastic snack option. It's high in protein, it's high in fiber, and it's a dip, which feels like a really good snack. Like I love to dip apples in it. You could do some pita chips or celery sticks. Anything that's really good with peanut butter is good in this. So the term like peanut butter hummus kind of sounds like, wait, what are we doing here? It's a sweeter spread, or a sweeter dip, and it's made with garbanzo beans, which is why I called it hummus. So let me just show you how to make it, right? We're gonna start with 1 can of drained garbanzo beans. I drained them and then I rinsed them. Then we're going to go ahead and add, I need 1/2 cup of peanut butter. So this is a natural peanut butter. So that's why it's just a little bit, it's like a little bit more liquidy than a traditional peanut butter. I'm gonna grab a spatula for that. But in natural peanut butter, the ingredients should really only read just peanuts. You might see a little bit of salt added in, maybe a little bit of sugar, but it should not have partially hydrogenated oil. So this one is organic dry roasted peanuts and sea salt. Then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of, you could either do honey or maple syrup. I just have I have maple syrup on hand, so I thought, let's do that. Keep it nice and simple. I'm a big fan of using what you have. There we go. Then we need some vanilla extract. So I need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball it, just a smidge. Perfect. Then we're going to add a product called PP2, or it's a powdered peanut. I've seen it called PB Fit, and you'll usually find it in the grocery store in that healthy food section, or you'll find it in the peanut butter section. And it is just a jar that looks like it's a peanut butter jar, and it's filled with a dry product. So what it is just ground roasted peanuts. And the majority of the fat, I believe it's 85% of the fat, has been expressed out of the peanuts, and so that's what makes it into that powder. The reason why I like using it in this recipe is it does lower the caloric intake of the hummus overall while still delivering a really awesome peanut buttery flavor. And then that powdered peanut flour, if you will, still adds a great bit of protein, which is perfect. That seals the deal. So it bulks up the nutrition level a little bit while taking down the little bit of the excess fat and adds really great flavor. So we're going to go ahead and add that powder in. And then we'll add a little bit of water to kind of rehydrate it. Great. And then let's go ahead and blend it until it's nice and smooth. That looks good. Ooh, that's beautiful. So it has a hummus-like texture. The garbanzo beans, again, we've added the garbanzo beans to the peanut butter just because it adds, again, more protein and fiber. It kind of bulks up the hummus or the peanut butter overall, so you're getting more bang for your buck. Like 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, you're looking at about 200 calories. I believe it's like 9 grams of fat. This serving of the peanut butter hummus just adds more protein and fiber and lowers the amount of calories. So 1/4 of a cup of this peanut butter hummus is 160 calories, and you're looking at 8 grams of fat and 9 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber. So it just kind of balances out the overall intake of the macros, and you can get a little bit more food, more quantity, for still a really good, great nutrition and quality products in here. So we can get crazy, you guys. And sometimes we can call this either a peanut butter hummus, or you can call it a peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough. And an option to kind of sweeten the deal for your kids, after school snack or an after work snack, is adding some mini chocolate chips and just stirring them in after you've processed them, after you've processed the hummus. And it does just make it like a little bit more of a sweet treat. It gives you that cookie dough feel. So I'm going to add just about 1/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. And then just go ahead and fold those in. It smells so good. Awesome. And you can, go ahead and serve it right out of the food processor. It's kind of like a room temperature at this point, or you can pop it in the refrigerator and it will get a little bit more firm. Again, I recommend serving it with like sliced apples, celery, some pita chips. There's so many options. Like anything that you like peanut butter with, it would be so delicious. And it's awesome because it's a high protein snack. It's great for you to take to work, or again, an after school snack. I cannot wait for you guys to try it. All right, let's go ahead and get started on our cold veggie pizza. So this is a great snack because it comes together really quickly. It's a great way to get some vegetables in, and it's great for during the summer or these hot days where you really don't want to start the oven up or have it cooking for a long period of time. And when you're outside playing and come inside and you're hot, you just want a cold, refreshing snack. So this is it. And this is a really great one also to take to like any potluck or cookout. Everybody loves them. Who doesn't love pizza? Any type of pizza. All right, so what we're gonna do, I actually went ahead before we got started and I popped in some pita bread. I popped it in the oven at 425 for about 7 to 10 minutes, just enough so it can hold its shape really, so it became nice and crispy like a pizza crust. I'm going to go ahead and set it aside. It's nice and cooled at this point. And we're going to go ahead and make the sauce, if you will. So it's a cream cheese based sauce to just add a little bit of protein and make it a little bit lighter and healthier. I'm pairing it with equal parts Greek yogurt. So we're doing 2 ounces of a full fat cream cheese and then 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. Then we're going to go ahead and just season it up. So we're going to do some onion powder. I'm going to eyeball it, but it's about 1/2 teaspoon. Onion powder, garlic powder, and then some salt and pepper. Really quite simple. You know, if you have time and you have the herbs on hand, you could do like some fresh dill would be really good. Fresh basil mixed in would be awesome. But just to keep it simple, I just stuck with dried spices. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend it until it's smooth. You could use a fork if you want. The cream cheese, you just have to kind of work through a little bit, but it'll give on us. And you can mash it down with a fork or using a spatula. It just kind of turns into a spread and then we can stir it all together. So this recipe is going to make 4 pizzas. I just went ahead and cooked off 2 flatbreads. Great, so now that we've stirred it together and it looks nice and smooth, we can go ahead and spread it on our pita bread. So you can just you'll divide it between all 4. Or in this case, I'm going to just do enough for the 2 of them. And depending on how much sauce you like on your pizza, you can add, of course, you can bump up the volume of sauce that you're going to make. But it's really here just to kind of hold on to the vegetables, help us add some seasoning and some good flavor and some moisture. Really think of it like, it would be great. Think of it like as like a thicker onion dip or a thicker ranch dressing. That's kind of what we're working with here. That's the idea. Great, so I'll go ahead and set this aside. Move these aside and we'll go ahead and chop up some vegetables. So in the recipe I wrote 1 cup of vegetables and I want you to have free reign, whatever you really enjoy, whatever your kids enjoy. And the 1 cup is just a rough estimate of how much you'll need for for all 4 pizzas. So for today I chose a cucumber, a bell pepper, a red onion, and I thought some sliced avocado would be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up. And since I'm doing a cucumber, you could either do a dice or you could do just little rounds. I'm going to go ahead and do a dice because if I'm envisioning, we're cooking for kids, they usually like their vegetables kind of undercover. So I'll go ahead and sprinkle some cucumbers on here. All right, next let's go ahead and chop up our bell pepper. So again, I'll go ahead and cut this into a dice just to match the shape and the size of our cucumbers. And I'll probably only need about 1/2 to cover both the two pitas. Go ahead and sprinkle that on. This is just so, it gets really fun and colorful. You could also just do some fresh arugula on top as well, or watercress. Really, whatever vegetables you like, pop it on. Then I'll go ahead and just cut up our red onion. I'll cut it up pretty small and stick with the small dice. Red onions add a good punch of flavor, so I'll cut them pretty small so they don't overpower the rest of the pizza. And just do a tiny bit of onion. Okay, and then lastly for our vegetables, I have some avocado that I already cracked open today for lunch, so I'm going to go ahead and use it up. So I'll go ahead and slice it. So I'm going to just use my knife to cut it into just some strips. Grab a spoon. And I'll scoop it out. And then we can place it onto the pizza. Okay, and then our cheese, if you will, we're going to add some shredded carrot to give this pizza a nice cheesy look. But don't worry, I do have some cheese coming for us. The carrots, they just add that little cute factor, if you will. When cooking for kids, or really for ourselves, doesn't that go a long way sometimes? Again, it's all in the details. I get a kick out of it. All right, and then lastly, adding like a little bit of an indulgent touch and keeping it pizza. We'll add a little bit of Parmesan cheese sprinkled on top. You could, this is just shaved Parmesan cheese. You could do grated, shredded, whatever works, whatever you have. Even some mozzarella would work, or some crumbled feta. Really, whatever cheese that you like and that you already have, it's going to work perfectly. Beautiful. Check those out. They're so pretty. And then you can just cut them up and serve. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a slice. Nice and crispy. Check this out. Doesn't that look good? Yum, a perfect vehicle for your vegetable intake. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching today's after school snacks, snacks that stick and our after school fuel. We chose some recipes that bumped up the protein, the fiber, and the overall nutrition so that we or our kids feel really good moving throughout the day between our meals. Check out these beautiful blueberry muffins, right? The blueberries are bursting and oozing and they look so, so good. I just pulled them out of the oven. I'm going to let them cool for a few minutes and then we can enjoy them warm, or I would recommend popping them in storing them in the refrigerator. They would last for about a week in your refrigerator. And if you don't plan on using all of them, they freeze so great. So pop them in your freezer for up to 6 months and they're the snack that keeps on giving. We also finished our cold veggie pizza with that cream cheese, yogurt kind of sauce on the pita bread, topped with carrots, onions, avocado, cucumbers, and bell peppers, and finished with a little bit of Parmesan. So good. And our peanut butter hummus or chocolate chip cookie dough, however you decide to serve it. Serve with some apples And then I have some cinnamon sugar pita chips to serve it with, topped with some chocolate chips. Such a great snack. I think most kids would go wild for this spread. You all, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you loved it, maybe learned a little something, or at least were inspired. If you enjoyed today's class, please share it with your friends or family, and make sure that you're signed up on Care Team Plus, following us on our Facebook page, and you've turned your notifications on to make sure that you don't miss any of our video drops. Have an awesome day.